Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the TicketSwap Hideout. This is our last session of the week. It's been a very busy week, full of panels and discussions and lots of networking here at the W. I'm very, very, very proud to present the Sziget Festival. Last year was the first time that TicketSwap actually did a sponsorship with Sziget. We have the TicketSwap Music Box, which is a stage, and I got to go myself and be present at the stage together with two Hungarian colleagues. I lost my mind, but I gained so much more. No, it was a really awesome experience. But yeah, we're very happy we invited you guys over because we are business partners and we'd love for you to tell the world the story. We are filming this also, so it's going to go online. We're going to spread it on social, so don't mess up. No, I'm kidding. But I would like to present Ákos from Sziget, and you will be speaking with it later. Áron? Okay. So I'll let you take it away. They'll be doing a presentation, and afterwards it's going to be open for Q&A. So just throw your hand up. We've got a throw speaker. Please, you're welcome for comments and questions after you're done.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for having us and inviting us. It's great to be here. And thanks up front for taking the time to come and see our presentation. We'll be talking about this lovely festival. This is me in big. So, but in order not to bore you, because you'll be looking at my face a little longer anyways, I'm going to start a little video about the festival.
Get it by any means, I gotta come up. I'm turning in life every day like it's summer. They try to test me, yeah, I'm on number. But I won't lose no more, and that's a promise. They say to make it, you gotta be patient. But I ain't got time to be basic. And when I get it, you know they go hate. Yeah, you know they go hate. Know they go hate. They ain't believe me, they thought I couldn't achieve it. They ain't wanna see the boy reach greatness. Oh no, no, straight from the bottom and I'm in it to the top. Gotta win every day, so I take it. I go hard on the baseline, yeah. You never thought you see the kid shine, but I'ma run it up. I'ma run it up. I'ma run it up. I go hard on the baseline. I ain't gonna stop till I get mine. So I'ma run it up. I'ma run it up. I'ma run it up.
Little fish, catch them today.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Hello?
Let's make some noise!
Live your dreams! Be whatever you want to be because you fucking kick ass and nobody can stop you.
So yeah, this is just to give you a small taste of how the festival looks and feels, but I'm gonna be talking a bit about it in more detail. So just in case you've never heard of Sziget, which I hope isn't true, because otherwise I know someone who would be really bummed out in the room. We are a 7-day long multicultural event, obviously a music festival, but there's a lot more to it. One main characteristic is 7 days is it's very long. I don't know if you ever tried to party 7 days nonstop, because we also never really close, unlike some other festivals. It's, I'm sure you can.
Don't just point at me. I camped on the festival, so I thought I was protected because I was in a Volkswagen bus, but behind me was the main stage speakers. So I went to bed at 1:30, kind of a decent hour, but the music was going until I think 4 or 5. And then you realize there's silence, you fall asleep, and then at 10 they start sound check. And then it's all over again. Yeah. And now tonight I'm not gonna drink. I'm just gonna work. Nope. You start drinking and it's all over. Hans was also there. Yeah. Our CEO, TicketSwap CEO, is also on the festival with me for 2 days. He helped me give out T-shirts, and we had a really good time.
So it's tough, but as you can see, there's living proof that you can survive.
Just barely living.
So there's a lot of music, but there's a lot of other stuff. We're gonna get into that later. Everything basically from opera to contemporary dance and all sorts of performing arts. One thing we're really proud about, and it's going to be a bit of a focus of the presentation today, is that we're very international. Also, of course, in the acts playing at the festival, but mostly in terms of the people visiting the festival. Basically, half of our audience comes from outside of Hungary, and from more than 100 different countries. Obviously, there are some very obscure ones where only 2 people are coming, but still. We're in the middle of Budapest, the capital of Hungary, so not as many other festivals in a field outside, 30, 45 minutes trip from a city nearby. So really, you walk out the festival in 10 minutes, you're in the middle of the city, which I think is pretty unique. This is how many visitors we had this year over the 7 days. I'm gonna explain a bit later how the number comes together, because it seems like a lot, but it is. And just to give you some insight on some local things, is that the Netherlands is our biggest foreign market. This is the lineup of last year. You can already see some of the faces. As I said, that we're very diverse. I think you can see that just by looking at the headliners. You have everything from Post Malone to Foo Fighters to The National, and then if you go down to the tiny bits, it gets even more diverse. Yeah, it's a lot to figure out. So these are only our musical stages. Unfortunately, I just saw now that this one is missing TicketSwap in front of it, but just to take you through it a bit.
Okay, we're done now.
Yeah, get the sound. So there's the main stage with all the big acts, obviously. There's the Massacre stage with everything that's super under the radar or already above, but trendy. The arena, mainly for electronic music, more mainstream. Coliseum, more underground electronic. Europe stage for the smaller up-and-coming bands that are maybe already established in their own countries, but not really well-known outside of it. There's the stage with the really long name, with all the different dead Hungarian poets in it. That's it used to be like a Hungarian stage exclusively, but we changed that up a bit. Have some international bands there as well. An area, the Global Village, dedicated to world music. For some reason, separate stage for reggae and Latin music, classical opera, jazz. You can go and conduct a choir or like a symphonic orchestra at the festival if you want to, which is quite a nice experience. Tribute stage to see all the people you wouldn't be able to see anymore because they're dead. For some reason, very popular.
It's insanely popular.
Insanely popular.
I think I was watching Dua Lipa on the main stage, and when she finished, I turned around and I heard 100,000 people singing ABBA.
Yeah.
I just turned around and it was phenomenal. It was such a great experience.
And for some reason, ABBA is always the most popular band. I think so much so is there. Yeah, and then there's the music box, sponsored by TicketSwap, mainly singer-songwriter acts for the quieter moments when you want to take a break in between all the parties. Light stage for Italian acts. We have a beach with some chill ambient music. And we have some boat parties that take you on the Danube around the city. So that's just a few. And then these are all non-musical venues. Theater, the Magic Mirror is a venue specially dedicated to LGBTQ community topics, shows, discussions, art zone for all the big installations everybody going to put on their Instagram. Walkabouts, smaller theater groups. We have an NGO island already dedicated to support the NGO scene. Hungarian village is mainly for Hungarian folk stuff. So, spread a bit of the culture and have you guys take it home with you. We have a circus, theater, dance again, and then, list basically goes on and on. And now to get to the exciting stuff, numbers. This is the number of attendees of the festivals over the course of 27 years now. Why I brought this graph is to explain a bit about the history and to explain why we ended up being so international. It's basically, or at least from how I see it or how I like to explain it to myself, there's 3 periods. One is obviously when we start, that goes, unbeatable growth for years, steady, high pace. Obviously, you start slow, it gets popular, you go a little bigger, it gets more popular, you go even bigger. Second phase would be between here and here. It's a good 10 years from around 2003 to 2013, which is, within basically the same number of attendees for 10 years. So you get into a routine, start falling back a bit on what you used to do, and suddenly the growth stops a bit. It gets harder to pull in new people. Everybody already knows what's happening, what they can expect. And also, I think you reach certain limits that you need to figure out if you want to keep pushing on those goals or define new ones. So the third period, starting here and being here at the moment, is a period where at least something changed in the way or in the goals we wanted to achieve with the festival. So, or at least how I like to see it, that the thing that changed there is that we specifically made it a goal to bring more and more people from outside of Hungary to the festival. Why? Why do you need people from outside of Hungary at a festival in Hungary? Glastonbury is mainly British guys. I'm sure Lowlands is mainly Dutch guys. Hungary is a small market. Also, budget-wise, if you want to bring the level of bands and acts you saw in the movie and on the poster, you have to go. Prices are going to go up, costs are going to go up, so the ticket starts to become too expensive, and basically you just reach a limit of what you can achieve within the country. But since Sziget already started to become popular in this period outside of Hungary, it seemed like a natural solution to just explore the idea of making the festival even more international than it is, and to start working with specific goals on specific markets and see where it takes us. And as you can see, at least for now, with some minor hiccups, it seemed to have paid off. So when you start expanding the market you're working on, you do a good job, hopefully you end up with a lot more people that you can reach. So that's what we did. To explain how we did it, mostly is I need to introduce certain partners we work with, and so you get the whole concept on how we made it possible. Most importantly, we work with a number of promoters all over Europe, and even some outside of Europe. Their job, if I would have to put it, very shortly, is to make the festival as popular as possible in their own territories. Here's a little map. We have the Netherlands, of course, as our most important market. And we have Germany, France, and Italy as our other key markets that we work on, where we have local promoters. But then there's also a lot of other markets where we have local partners. There's still Israel also in there, but you can't see it now. So basically, what we ask the promoters to do is do an entire marketing communication strategy for their own markets, maybe even ticketing, and just try to make the festival as popular as possible. Make sure that as many people from their countries attend the festival as possible. And there's going to be obviously some other players in there that need to be involved. And also, you'll see that there's all sorts of combinations. So there's partners who do multiple roles, as here in the Netherlands, for example. And Áron is going to go into more detail on what this exactly means and what the challenges are that we face. One more thing before we move over is you don't see a needle here, although the UK is our second biggest market outside of Hungary, after the Netherlands. The reason is because we basically do our communication over there in-house, centrally. So Hungary and the UK are coordinated by us directly. Then for this reason, in the UK, we don't have a promoter because we're doing most of the tasks the promoter does for us usually. But we only have a PR agency that we work with, who obviously specifically does PR. Unlike, the promoters who do PR, but also a lot of other stuff that we're going to be talking about. And so you get the whole picture. I think these are the four main types of partners we work with. Travel partners, obviously, providing travel solutions to people from abroad to come to the festival, and ticketing partners using their local ticketing network to sell tickets to our festival. And then there's all different type of combinations of this. So certain partners are travel partners and promoters. Certain partners are ticketing partners and promoters, or ticketing partners and travel partners. Whatever you can imagine. And now, Áron is going to start talking a bit more about the details and the challenges.
Yeah, thanks, Ákos. So now you know a little bit more about how we do the stuff that we do. I would like to just show you a couple of examples of the, as I call them, unique international challenges that we have to face each day. So the first one is from the communication side of things. Like every business, you need your own website to make people aware of your festival. And as you can see in our website, it's available actually in 12 different languages, which is quite common nowadays. But back then when we started doing it, there was no existing solution for this to like facilitate all these different languages. So we solved this challenge by developing our own website CMS system. And there are a couple of other unique challenges with the website. There was a time we tried doing an Israeli, a Hebrew website as well. It turns out they're writing from they're starting from right and writing to left and all the different kind of characters that you have to use. So you have to take into account a lot of different factors. For example, our Russian and Ukrainian website, you need to select the font that's gonna have a support for the Cyrillic cases as well. So that's communication, but that's an example of the stuff that we do. About ticketing, over the years we've been developing our own ticketing solution, our own software. It's called Backstage. Basically, it's an all-round ticketing solution from the web shop front end to accreditation, like guests and artist tickets, to access control, to integrated cashless payment and everything. And it's with the scale of Sziget, you definitely have like unique needs that you need to satisfy. So this is the software is especially tailored to our needs, and like one of the most important aspects of having our own system is that we can actually integrate other ticketing systems to our system, and now via API connection. Now let me list a couple of partners internationally that we're working with. First is, of course, Paylogic and Festival Travel from the Netherlands. We also work with Reservix in Germany. We work with Festicket for the UK and other English-speaking markets. In France, we have Digitic on board. And of course, it's not all primary. We have our lovely cooperation with the TicketSwap guys. That's all made possible by our own system and by the sort of advanced API connection that we have built. So this is how we do ticketing. Now you have to ask the question, like, how do you get all these international people to your festival site from different countries? There are a couple of solutions. Of course, you've got airplanes, and it's never been cheaper to fly to a different city, different country by all those budget carriers, but they can only carry so many people, and flying is not too eco-friendly, and it might not be the cheapest way. We also you've got buses from all over Europe coming to Budapest for Sziget, but our favorite solution is actually the train. And now I'd like to show you a video of how the train experience of Sziget looks like.
Come on, the toasty bottom. All the color was
So yeah, this was the after movie from last year's festival by Festival Travel. Seeing the success of this method of transporting people to Budapest, we are now talking to a couple of different partners about making rail travel more accessible, and I hope we can get some nice deals for everybody from all over Europe, because we strongly believe in traveling by train, as it is the most energy efficient and eco-friendly way of traveling. The last topic that I want to show some examples it's on-site accommodation. Like, it's a huge challenge trying to get a place to sleep for everybody, all of those 100,000 visitors each day. So the solutions we have is where you can camp everywhere on the festival island itself, but you can always choose from a couple of upgrade campsite areas. This is where we get super international again, as we have dedicated French and Italian campsites with fresh croissants and pizza ovens and fresh pasta, and of course French and Italian speaking stuff. That's how you want to spend your days at the festival. You can either bring your own tent to the festival, or you can purchase a pre-pitch tent that's waiting for you when you arrive to the festival. And but yeah, it's not the level of comfort that everybody's after. And we can, we cannot buy all kinds of stuff from just Decathlon, like, and it's not gonna satisfy everybody's needs. So we also have glamping options, and we do have our lovely international accommodation provider partners. For example, Carden and Poke Pads and Flexolels. They're helping us to accommodate our lovely guests in such lovely solutions. So yeah, that's pretty much it. To finish this presentation, I would like to run a video. It's actually a Word exclusive. Like, nobody's ever seen it. It's actually a children's poem or a tale.
When it's time for a journey to learn and to grow.
Roads guide you. That's where I go.
Roads give you chances to seek and explore. Want to know? Just open the door.
Roads go.
Over the hill, under a bridge.
Deep in the valley. Higher than me.
If you yearn for the ocean or wish for a stream, roads bring you closer to reaching your dream.
Road soon. Green city buildings that tower on high, twinkling like stars in the dark velvet sky.
Racing past signs, reflecting their light, singing and sang, turn left and turn right. elevators help where you wouldn't expect, showing you various ways to connect.
Bringing you closer, then curling away. You always have choices. To go?
Oh, stay.
Roads reach.
Across flowing rivers, past harbors and bays, with breathtaking bridges.
Designed to amaze. Attaching two places that once were apart. Choose to cross over. Follow your heart.
Roads merge. Small distant roads sometimes travel you, marking the mass on their own.
Get a new road to join in the fun.
Heads the same way and the two become one. Roads grow!
Well-traveled roads sometimes need extra space to guide life's adventures to a new place. Which path should you choose? That's easy to see. The one that will take you where you wish to be.
Roads wait for click-clacking trains.
Advance to toll sales. Slow-going hay wagons carrying bales.
Some knights and crossbows, a near with a friend.
Roads sometimes hold.
Or just come to an end.
Roads climb! Steep mountain peaks, dusted lightly with snow, rising above, deep canyon below.
Clinging to cliffs. Chasing a cloud. Reaching the top. Tired but proud.
Roads remember.
Every life, landmark, the big and the small.
The moment you tripped, the times you stood tall.
Where you are going and where you began.
What you expected and what you didn't plan.
Roads return. During your journey, you'll ramble and roam, but sooner or later, you'll think of your home. After you've seen all you needed to see, a road takes you back where you're longing to be.
Back to that hill, under that bridge, deep in your valley, high on your ridge. Roads take you all over the planet, but then you always can follow them home once again.
I was super. Yeah, that was amazing film. Thanks for sharing that with us. Thank you guys, of course, for being here and sharing the story of Sziget. I have questions, but I'm going to first ask the audience if you guys have anything you'd like to ask the gang. Testing. Yes.
Hi, I'm Fiona. I'm from Canada, and I work on a festival that's 36 hours nonstop, so it's on a small scale compared to you. One of the major issues that we have, or that we're super sensitive to, is waste management. And you talked about eco-friendliness, about the planes, but how many people do you actually have camping on site, and what are you communicating to your guests when they're coming about how to be eco-friendly, or to bring reusable things, or to be conscious that whatever they're consuming will be producing trash and renewable management?
We have about 10,000 people staying at our upgrade campsites, and there's obviously the free camping solution, so you can camp wherever you want, basically next to the main stage speakers, if you wish.
How many people?
There's, I think, that's another 15 to 20,000, so there's about 30,000 people living on the island for that week. In terms of waste, obviously, we try to collect selectively as much as possible, encourage people to do the same. We introduced eco cups, so this it's everything is very hard on if you're at a scale where you have about 100,000 people at a festival a day. So it might sound like a small thing, but if you have reusable cups instead of single-use plastic cups, you replace 1.5 million plastic cups that would go to become trash immediately over the course of a week. So there's a lot of small stuff we do. Other things is obviously we have a lot of pre-settled accommodations, because another factor always is people like to sleep in a tent but don't like to take it home with them. So if we provide them the option, not having to bring their own, but being able to rent one, then we can take care of setting up, taking them down, use them again. And also one other thing we do is obviously we encourage people to take their tents home, but if they don't want to or they can't, they can donate them to charity on site. We have a lot of collection bins, or to make it easier, we have stickers that they can take with them, mark their tent that this is okay for charity, and leave it there. So we collect about 600 to 800 tents this way as well that we donate after the festival.
And what will you do for 2020 to educate your guests, like to tell them bring a reusable bottle, you're not going to use any cups, or bring your own garbage bag, and this is what you have allowed, or don't bring things that's packaged to reduce your waste. Do you have any program or approach for 2020?
Yeah, we're trying to do the same, communicate it more, take small steps, and hope that they add up to big things, and the overall. We also have an eco-friendly camping that we're constantly developing, solar powered stuff, biodegradable cleaning stuff and toilets and all that. So it's it takes time, and I think you need to go step by step, but all the small things add up in the end, and hopefully that can make a difference in the long run.
Thank you.
Can I add to it?
Yeah.
So they also have their eco warriors. So I saw you guys had, I want to guess something like 400 volunteers. They were sitting next to me. That's what I know. And in shifts, 3 times a day, there were about 100 kids that would go out to pick up trash. They separated everything, and I think volunteerism is part of this process. Of course, they got festival passes, so they got to enjoy the music. These were, but having volunteers there and the constant cleaning that was going on, it was impressive. It really was an army. The other thing I would mention also is your payment system, because you're not using tokens and you're not using cash. Cash creates a lot of waste. So there you can use a preloaded bracelet, and for me that was one thing that not only saved a lot of time but also
the cashless thing is something we introduced years ago, so it's it doesn't even come to mind for me anymore. But I know in the Netherlands you have a lot of token festivals, so it's also a thing. Also with the trash collection, it's not just volunteers. We also encourage people, so you can pick up trash bags, and if you fill them and bring them back, you get all sorts of gifts like Wi-Fi or something, the most essential things you need at a festival.
Yes.
Hi guys, thanks for being here and flying over, or I don't know, maybe you took a train. So my question would be, I guess you also personally, or also from a company standpoint, you are closely watching what other festivals are doing, mainly from Europe, but probably globally. From your personal perspective, where do you think that you are, as of today, a trendsetter, and where do you think there is still room to grow? When you watch closely competition, maybe it's not that competing field, but still you learn from each other.
I think it's it's a very competitive business for sure, and maybe a lot of things we always did or used to do are not that special anymore. I wasn't there, obviously 27 years ago, but when the company started out, it was just a group of friends figuring out what to do in their free time in the summer when there wasn't really much to do. So someone was working with bands, someone was working with theater companies. So it all just evolved into this multicultural thing, which isn't that special anymore, let's be honest. So there's a lot of festivals doing it. There's a lot of festivals doing incredible decorations all over. There's a lot of festivals that are cashless. There's a lot of festivals that are green. So I think it's definitely competitive, and it's hard to stand out. It's hard to formulate it, but I think the one obviously I've been to a couple of festivals in the past years. Since it's my job, obviously not for amusement at all. And one thing I always find is different is that there's a unique atmosphere at this festival for some reason, and I believe the reason is that because of the people who attend the festival, because for some reason it attracts the kind of people that create this special atmosphere.
Yeah, we've seen it in the videos. I think it was very excellent.
So I think that's where we can stay up to date with the competition. The hard thing is, how do you explain this to someone who's never been? So I think that's the biggest challenge.
But you have ambassadors, like fans like me who've been there once. So yeah, you need that. That makes sense. Cool. Yes, sir.
Do you still want to grow? I mean, growth is always something that every company wants to achieve, but you're at 530,000, and the last few years, the trend still looks like this. What is the limit? Is there a limit? Should there be a limit?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was clear, but Sziget, actually it means island in Hungarian. So we're on an island. Obviously there's limits to an island as we're surrounded by water. The potential, and actually I forgot to explain what 530,000 actually means, because I said it's a lot. But it actually is not 530,000 different individuals. It's the number of people attending the festival each day added up. So each day we have a capacity of 95,000 people that can attend. So if you multiply that, you see that there's still room to grow beyond 530,000. So we want to grow to a healthy extent where there's still room. Let's use it. Let's have people who enjoy it and then who become ambassadors of the festival and maybe bring their friends the next time around. But there are limits. Unfortunately, we're not yet at the limit. So there's always days that could be more packed. It's
that was me.
Obviously, like the countries, the age spectrum is very wide. The two biggest demographics are 18 to 24 and 25 to 34, as you would have guessed. An interesting thing is that the younger demographic tends to stay longer. We have a lot of different ticket types. So it's 7 days for the whole pass. We have 5-day tickets, 3-day tickets, and daily tickets. And as you go shorter, the demographic tends to become older. So that's
days that are more targeted for specific audiences?
Well, booking is always a tricky thing and always, in some ways a question of luck. So we can't really, if we would be able to put it together like that, then it would be ideal. But unfortunately, we have to go with what we can achieve in terms of booking.
Okay, so on a marketing level, how do you make sure that you have a fresh supply of new people that are coming to the festival every year?
I think since it's a very big commitment to we're very international. So half of the people come from outside of Hungary. To have numbers, it's about 100,000 and 100,000. So it's the 530,000 are actually 200,000 individual people, give or take a couple of thousand. So to have, it's actually, I think it's harder to make people to come back even though they had a great time, because it's long and it's a big commitment also financially. Imagine spending your one holiday in the summer at the same place each year. You really have to like that to go back year after year. I mean, there's a lot of people. You always run into couples who met at Sziget who are already there with their children who have always been at Sziget, and they're 5 to 6 years now, and each summer they spend their vacation there. But it's hard. I think trends are changing. People are not really not necessarily looking for that one hidden gem anymore that only they've discovered and they can experience and fully commit to. It's maybe more interesting to show that you've been in multiple places during the summer, even if it's only for shorter periods or the time it takes to make a picture of yourself with a nice background. So it's tricky.
I think you could go each year and have a totally different experience. So one year you could stay in the city center, get an apartment, take the bus in. The next year you could camp on site. You could do a camper 1 year. And obviously the other experience is the lineup. Yes, you have the same stages every year, but you have different acts coming all the time. It's just huge and diverse. So
I agree. Yeah. But I can imagine that someone would think,
also,
I've already been there. I ticked it off the bucket list. So, yeah, it's just hard to make that commitment each year.
I'm going to ask a question, actually, because it is an island, and we've been talking about limits and growth and things like that. So one thing I learned from my experience going there, and also because I had 2 cool Hungarian colleagues who helped make it happen, I also have Hungarian friends who live here, and they basically told me, like, yeah, Sziget, it's a fact of life. If you live in Budapest, you grow up with it. So in high school, you either work on it or you've been there 10 times. And your parents probably also went there or they worked on it. So it's really part of the community and part of society. But how close are you guys with with, for instance, the city government? Because I would imagine they will also work with you because it's a boon for the city, but it's got to have limits in what you're allowed to do. Are you guys in a really good relationship with the government?
We are in a good relationship with the government, I think. Generally speaking, with the city, obviously it's a bit of a love and hate thing. If you're living really close to the festival and you're not really into music or EDM or a lot of people in front of your house, then you might be a bit annoyed. But generally, I think everybody is positive about the festival, especially the government. We have a very good cooperation with them on a local level. We have, because obviously it's also a great advantage for us that we're in the middle of Budapest. So it's a very attractive city, very buzzing, really interesting for the people also to discover. So we have a product called the City Pass that we do in cooperation with the government that offers free public transport, a lot of discounts into museums, spas, bars, and all that stuff. So basically a tool for you to explore the city during the day and then come back to the festival. What's going to change is we just had elections and we have a new direction, both for the capital and the local district government. So, but I'm pretty sure everything's going to be good. We're going to stay good. Or even better.
That actually is good news then. Yeah.
Do you know how the financial return for the city? Because we have the Grand Prix in Montreal, you have the Grand Prix in Budapest. This event brings a lot of people in the city. Do you know how much return it gives also to all local businesses and the positive impact it has financially?
Well, it's hard to estimate exactly, but what we know is that this is like the biggest touristic attraction in the country all over, throughout the whole year. So it attracts the biggest number of tourists out of anything happening from Formula One race or whatever attracts other people. We have research that says that people spend about an average of somewhere between 1.5 and 2 additional days in the city before or after the festival. So there's a lot of ways that we can show that this is really valuable for the city as well. But I wouldn't be able to give you a number on how much that actually is.
I think someone asked me the same question this morning about ADE and what it does for Amsterdam each year. No.
Some people do have measures for that, but I'm not quite sure how we measure it in terms of the financial impact.
Yep.
We do in Montreal have the financial, how many millions we bring in the city, but I wouldn't be able to tell you how the actual impact is.
Anyone else? Last comments, questions? I think we'll wrap up then. So I want to thank you guys very much for making the way over here. It was really a pleasure to have you and see a really fantastic presentation. You'll always have me as an ambassador telling everybody to go. It was my first real festival, I have to say. So at 43, I went there and I just thought my mind was completely blown. And then to not go to like a typical 1 or 2 day, but 3 day, or really 7, 8 days living on the festival, you become part of a society. It is an island where you build so much community and you just forget that there's the outside world. You make a lot of friends, you eat a lot of fruit in the morning and then drink way too much Hungarian beer. But yeah, it's only smiles. It's such a positive place. So you guys are really doing the right thing. Keep it up. And yeah, thanks. So we'll give them a hand. Oh my God, it's the end of a very long week. All right, the TicketSwap Hideout has 10 more minutes. I want to thank everybody, who came this week, everybody who told their friends to come, and a special thank you to all of our crew who made this happen and made this really the best thing it could be. I'm super, super pleased. I think you guys are too. So I wish everybody a very safe and happy ADE. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Go party, but do get crazy. And have a nice weekend.
Yeah.